Hello and welcome to Bluejay Business News, where today we are joined by Rod McIllree, who's the Executive Chairman of Bluejay Mining, and his colleague, Bo Stensgaard, who's the newly appointed Chief Executive of Bluejay Mining. If you don't know, Bluejay is listed on 3 exchanges, the AIM market in London, the Frankfurt Exchange, and the OTC market in the United States. In London, the company has a market capitalization of around £102 million. And the company has assets in both Greenland and Finland. We're going to get to those later. But guys, welcome onto the show. Since we last saw you, there have been some board level changes. Rod, you've become executive chairman. Bo, you've stepped into the role of chief executive. Rod, can I start with you? Tell us about the changes, why they were made, and what you now hope to achieve.
Thanks, Tim. Good to be back. Look, I mean, the situation with Bluejay is one of an evolving company. We are moving towards a production scenario here shortly with Dundas. And I think that the management really needs to sort of evolve with that process. Bo has a very significant track record, both within the sort of the Danish state and also in Greenland itself. And I've known him for a very long time. We sort of conducted quite a wide search to get the right candidate. And Bo, who had been working with the company for a couple of years before that, just was the outstanding option for us. And it was a natural progression. I kind of like to think of it in terms of a Formula One team. The guy who builds the car isn't the same guy who drives the car. So, yeah, look, Bo's a great addition to the team.
Okay, thanks, Rod. Well, Bo, it was you who had the relationship and the knowledge of Johannes. What can you tell us about him?
Well, Johannes really represents a vast experience on execution and financing of large infrastructure projects in Greenland, in UK, and internationally. On top of this, Johannes also have a very strong former background from the FL Smith, and his network into Greenland, Denmark, and Europe is really strong. So Johannes really represents a perfect match for our next phase in the development of this company and the Dundas project. And I'm really happy about having him on board in the board.
Okay, great. Now, in that case, let's look at the strategy of the company going forwards and the company's positioning. Why is now the right time to be advancing a project like Dundas?
Yeah. Well, ilmenite prices were already sort of robust before the pandemic broke. Ilmenite is critical for the pigment and titanium industry worldwide. And there's a close correlation with GDP recovery. And that's translated into sort of a linear growth in demand and subsequently also a strong pricing. And all this is in favor for Dundas. There's a very strong demand for China, but we also see an increasing demand from the US, from Europe, and other Western world countries about securing supply of critical metals. And titanium is one of these critical metals. And actually, this is not only beneficial for the Dundas project, but also for our other projects that contain critical metals, especially considering battery metals. So for Dundas, it's good. For other projects, it's good. And for Greenland and Finland, we are very much on the radar for this.
And moving forwards now, Bluejay is no longer an exploration company. You're moving ever closer to production, which means you've got to start thinking about financing the project or financing further the project. Takes in the whole concept of project finance. I mean, you're in discussions. How is those discussions going on the project financing?
Yeah, the discussions are going well. We have had a lot of interest in the project, and we are confident that we can benefit from export credit financing and Dundas check criteria for such financing. This will result in lending rates that will be very beneficial for our shareholders. And we are working on the final inputs for our optimization programs, which will include looking at options for electrifying ore transportation and introduce renewable energy to the project, all under the same, if not lower, capex as what is stated by our PFS, and importantly, also with savings on the OPEX. This will feed into signed off plans for construction and operations, and once completed, the key financial institutions will need to conduct their due diligence on these materials as they will on all project finance. The due diligence is also looking at review of the important environmental and social aspects, and this work already have started. So the discussions are going very well.
I know that that Bluejay operates in a number of countries, but let's stick with Dundas and Greenland for the moment. Greenland's just had an election. Can you explain or outline for the viewers any impact which the election may have on Bluejay's prospects?
I definitely can, Tim. It will not affect us, the election that has been ongoing here. Actually, we're probably looking stronger after this. Dundas is fully granted. We have an exploitation plan permit here. And we have the environmental and social impact assessment fully approved. We have an impact benefit agreement already signed with the municipality of Northwest Greenland, and we have support from the local communities and the politicians. This election was very much an election about allowing uranium mining or not allowing uranium. And we are not in the uranium business. All parties in Greenland are pro-exploration and pro-mining. Their election programs clearly state this, and it has been emphasized again and again during the election campaign. All want to build a strong, sustainable mining sector in Greenland to the highest ESG standards. And Bluejay have been operating in this environment in Greenland for many years. We are a valued partner, and we have proved that we are operating to the highest standards. We are happy about the election here and the democratic process. We congratulate Greenland with this, congratulate to the politicians and the newly formed government, which was announced Friday last week, and the entire Greenlandic parliament. So we're very happy with the election as it is.
Okay, but Bo, you mentioned there the environmental, social, and governmental aspects of the way that Bluejay operates in Greenland, and the fact that the government has given you the approval for what we now call ESG. ESG becomes increasingly important, of course, for the financial institutions, the people who will invest in you or with whom you'll negotiate the project financing we were talking about a moment ago. How does the Dundas project, from an ESG perspective, how does it stack up against other mining projects in relation to environmental and social standards?
Yeah, definitely. From an ESG perspective, Dundas is really as neutral as you can get it for mining. We are really excavating here and just excavating sand. There's no tailings, no blastings, no crossing, no liberation of the ilmenite grains, no chemical are being used in our operations. And all operations here, all activities here are to the highest ESG standards. We have sort of the fully permit for this also. There are options here for electrification and renewable energy, and this is also being reviewed positively. The positive social benefits anticipated from Dundas for the local communities in the form of job creations, new activities in Northwest Greenland, and the wider sort of benefit and positive impacts is a shared view that we have with the locals, the stakeholders, the communities, and with Greenland as such. So we are in a very, very good position with this, high standards and a very low environmental impact here.
Okay, both finally, before we let you go, can you give us an idea of what we should be looking out for in terms of news flow coming out of Bluejay in the coming months, which will excite and interest shareholders and potential shareholders?
Yeah, no, I'm sure that we are coming up with exciting news here and so on. Of course, we'll update the market on the progress on our project financing discussions for Dundas. Of course, Greenland is very much sort of under travel restrictions due to COVID-19 still. Much is determined by this, getting boots on grounds, especially concerning complex operations. However, we are ready to push the button when it comes to getting people to Greenland to conduct some preparation for Dundas for the next phase and advancing our other projects. If we're looking towards Finland and so on, we have a joint venture at Inaski. This is progressing very well. We are happy with our cooperation with our partner in the project, and we expect to update the market very soon on that project. And also, of course, we are always in discussions about our assets, our other assets, there's a lot of interest in this. Of course, again, with the critical metals and battery metals, we are operating in good jurisdictions with very good projects here. And like at Dundas, where we have attracted a global major distribution partner for our product from Dundas, and like at Inoski, where we have attracted one of the top major miners to really develop that project and do the exploration here, we are optimistic that we can attract other high quality partners to our other projects. So overall, Bluejay is in a good position, and we are confident that we can progress all projects with a focus especially on Dundas over the next period here.
Thanks, Rod. Thanks, Bo. Thanks for joining us. That was Rod McIllree and Bo Stensgaard of Bluejay Mining. As I said at the start of the program, Bluejay is listed in London on the AIM market, in Frankfurt, and on the OTC in New York. That's it from Bluejay Business News for today. Thanks for watching.